Okay, so to convert dash over to polygons, this workflow is going to begin by verifying the surface normals of our object. Now, this is something that we probably should do at the end of every single NURBS model, just so that, you know, when we're lighting and we're rendering and whatnot, we can make sure that all of our normals are facing outward. Now, this is not going to be a super fast process. It is relatively simple, but you got to be kind of patient. What we need to do is grab dash a patch at a time. Yes, one patch at a time. And we're going to verify the normals are facing outward. If they're not, we're going to reverse them. Now, here's how we're going to do this. Let me go ahead and go to Display. Let's see, UI elements. Let's bring up our shelf. And I'm actually going to create a new shelf to help us out with this. So let's see, new shelf, and we'll call this NURBS to Poly. This will make things a little bit easier for us. Now, what we're going to add to this shelf, first off, is a way to switch the normals on and off. Just because you don't want to leave them on all the time, or at least I don't anyways, because there's so many of them, your character looks like he's covered with some sort of bottle brush material, like you could just stuff dash down a chimney and clean it out really well. So what we're going to do is come over here to Display, and you'll notice we have NURBS components, and here you'll see normals in shaded mode. So let's hold down Control and Control-Alt-Shift. I think, was it Control-Shift these days? Sorry, I'm totally confused, but it'll all come back to me. NURBS components, and let's come down to normals. Yeah, it is just Control-Shift these days. It used to be Control-Alt-Shift back when I first started Maya. So there we go. Now if we click this, waha, we can see the normals, and that's what I'm talking about with all the crazy bottle brushing action. Another thing is just to make it easier to see the patches themselves, go ahead and switch on wireframe on shaded, because you'll get those nice big bold lines wherever you see borders. So it'll be easier to select and verify. So what you're going to do is just grab every patch, and now because I have run the normal operation once, I can just hit G. So boom, hit G and switch it back off, and G. Oh, here we go. Our first patch where the normals are facing inside. That is bad. To fix this, all we got to do is come over to Edit NURBS, Reverse Surface Direction, open up the options, and we're going to swap the U and V direction. That will, in effect, point our normals outward. So we'll go ahead and click Reverse here, but then we'll hold down Control-Shift again. We'll go back to Edit NURBS and Reverse Surface Direction. Boom, we'll add that to our shelf as well. So now that we've reversed those, go ahead and switch off normals for that patch and start looking at other patches. So hit G. Oh, we need to reverse this guy. Switch off normals. Grab this patch, hit G. You guys are probably getting the idea by now. So we'll switch that off. And we'll go ahead and switch off normals. And the key here is just make sure you're thorough, because it's real easy to miss patches, and when you miss them, they're just going to bite you later and be a pain. So go through here and systematically change them all if you need to, and remember to switch them back off because they're kind of annoying. If you are thinking to yourself, and I'm sure one or two of you are, why don't you just grab the whole thing and turn on normals? This is why. Because just me, personally, I can't make anything out of that. So, yeah, I don't do that. It's so much better if you just go piece by piece and just verify that everything is lining up okay. I mean, if you want, you can grab like a couple of patches at a time, you know, something like this. But even that starts to get confusing. So I recommend biting the bullet, being patient, and just going patch by patch. All of our fingers should be good. They are. That's inward, so we'll reverse that. That's reversed. That's reversed. Now, be very careful with this. Make sure that you do get them all. But I'm going to, I shouldn't even say this because I'm telling you to be so careful, but I know I'm kind of shooting my own credibility here. But if you miss one or two, it's not the end of the world. It's not like you have to start this whole process over again. I'll show you how you can handle that later on. Because chances are I'll probably miss a few, so. But do try to get them all. Now that I've said this, though, I'll give you kind of a heads up. This video is probably going to get a little bit tedious, because this is all I'm really doing, is just verifying a whole bunch of NURBS patches. I'm not going to be giving out any secret passwords for special content that we always hide on 3D Buzz and don't tell you guys about. I'm not going to be giving you any passwords to PM me, because that just led to all sorts of problems. Actually, it wasn't a problem. I joke about it, but it was all good last time. I told everybody when they got to, like, I think it was the texturing video for Project 3 and Fundamentals, to send me a PM that said Super Waffles, and I still get those to this day, which is kind of cool. But it's like at first I had to really clean out my inbox a lot. Shoveling waffles out of my PM box. Okay. Let's go ahead and just get all the patches of the thumb real quick, make sure they're all looking good. Notice I'm probably checking some of these patches a couple of times. I mean, you can't really be too careful anyways, so... Okay, so I think that's just about everybody on the hand. If I miss anybody, they will pop up a little bit later, and you'll see where that is. If we don't see where that is, then I'll actually flip somebody back just to make sure that we get everything. Okay. Looking good. Let's grab back here. Those are in. Push those out. Let's reverse these. Put those away. Alright, now, at this point, I have gone all the way up the gauntlet, and I have reversed all of the normals. As you guys can see, I've got to do this to every single patch of the model. So I've got some time ahead of me. So rather than sit here and make this video super long and lengthy and boring doing the same stuff over again, I'm going to just kind of hand this off to you guys. Take the rest of your model and go ahead and make sure all of the normals are facing outward, okay? So that will almost wrap things up for this video. There's one last thing I want to do, so I'm hoping you guys are still paying attention to me. I want to make sure that the layers that I have are all cleaned up. I actually should have done this at the beginning, but doing it now is just as good as doing it earlier. So we have the dash body layer, which we can switch on and off, and that's all well and good. We have the dash body equipment layer, which is also in good working order. I have half complete head patches, which is a pointless empty layer, so we'll kill that off. We have the teeth and eyes layer, which seems to be working great. And finally, we have the dash head layer, which is incomplete. So make sure you grab the rest of these patches, add them to the dash head layer, and there you go. This will make things a little bit easier while you work to switch off layers of stuff you don't need to see. And that will wrap things up for this video. Just remember, go ahead and verify the normals on the remaining patches of the model. So take your time and get through that, and thanks a lot.